So I got my hair's long enough to do a white boy hair flip. So I want to kind of pull some of that off. It's also the daytime, so I'm in a really good mood. The weather's just perfect, and it's fall. So when you see a car go by, the uh, leaves swirl around behind it. Fantastic. I'm in a great mood. Something about I always get very productive when I'm up during the day because I'm usually just up at night. The because I had a crazy day the other day. I slept all through the day and all through the night as well. And then I got up at 5 this morning and I was like, what happened? Anyway, I have a couple things. This is going to be one of those longer introductions. I did want to show, I've never shown this before. I don't use cassette tapes for anything except I have a little Walkman that I'll take tapes with some kind of sound effects. I record all kinds of sound effects. Um, when I'm washing dishes, I always record it. I always record it. Washing dishes gives the best sound effects. I mean, goodness gracious. Sometimes when I take a bath, I'll record the running water. So I don't want to spoil it for you if you like listening to any of the noise that I make, but sometimes those are the things that it's from. Video game noise, stuff like that. I always put it on tape. And I have, if you want to see over here, I have just a mess. This is a Pow Kitty. And I do have a mug right here. This is almost about to be Christmas time, so I'm going to want to put some coffee in that soon. And then I have cases just in case, cassette cases just in case I ever want to do a cassette release and not have it done completely by Kudaki. And some guitar picks over here. So I did want to show that and also some recent things that came in from trades. I was going to wait to do a trades video, and I might still do that because I actually forgot the Woods Mattress OVMN split. It's in my little CD container that I have, or like I have my collection of CDRs, and that's a episode I thought about doing. Why I hate jewel cases. I might have to do that. But my collection of CDRs, it's in there. I have just a box with my collection, and then I have a box with Not of the Flesh stuff, and then like 5 more boxes of. They're almost like shoe boxes, but they're 4 CDs, boxes of just stuff that I made. It's been a lot. So go to the notoftheflesh.com. Soon we're going to be putting out this Hanging On by a Thread. If you listen to music on my channel, you have heard this. I went ahead and put it because it's only like a 19-minute single. I went ahead and put it on a 3-inch disc. Same thing with this. On my channel, on Spotify, stuff like that. I released it officially. It's and I put the cover sideways, but this is not available on notoftheflesh.com. It will not be. I only made 6 copies. I handed them out to friends and family. I still have some people to give some to. These are from Woods Mattress. A recent. We didn't do a trade. I gave him like 40 bucks, and he sent these tapes and the OVMN Woods Mattress split, which is pretty cool. If you remember, I did a trade with him long ago in which I gave him 2 CDRs per cassette tape, and I got a giant box full of art and cassettes. It was the coolest thing I've ever received. And the composition and just the way he packs up an order or a trade is amazing. So I wish there was more of that in the noise scene. This one just has the date on it. It's 10/21/2025, and he has kind of been in a physical. He's kind of gotten to the point of doing a lot on a lot of different labels. I don't even know if I could off my head compile all the things that he's been putting out lately, but a lot, and he's like the king of noise right now. And this one was a more official release. You might be able to find this on his page, Layers of Misunderstanding. Anna Maxell, the Dark Maxells is what he tends to use, the Communicator series, now that I'm able to read it. And yeah, that's what the art looks like for it. It might be a turnoff for some people, but he really has a fantastic way of putting these in. But why I said it might be a turnoff for some people is there's not a um, there's not words on the spine, so I think it's common to would people like to stack up. And I always thought about it'd be great if I had my collection behind me of music when I do Noise with Ivan, but this is just I'm more about having Puritan literature around than uh, music. I like to keep my music tucked away. Um, but yeah, a lot of people like to have the spines with the things on them. So I don't know. I might talk about why I like CDs better than cassettes, even though I do like cassettes for a lot of genres, just not noise. Um, and but we do have cassettes available for DRND, Life is Suffering, the Disfigure Robot Child project, and uh, uh, Mass Graven Image. They have some fantastic albums ready and available for Pro CDR or cassette with label printing. These are made by Kunaki, if you're familiar with the stuff they do. Label printing, professional sleeves, as opposed to our general $3 to $5 cassette or CDRs in sleeves with print with just cardstock, white and black covers. Some of our stuff is a little bit fancier, and we do have a couple things that are disc printed, but primarily everything that I make here at home is real simple, and I like it that way. So I may discuss that. Right now, I'm gonna go inside, and I'm gonna go get the list of stuff to talk about. So roll the intro. I'll be back in a moment. I'm gonna do collection videos on my Instagram, but I figured I would go ahead because I've been thinking about it recently. I watched a video by Cinemassacre where he talked about why he hated Blu-rays as opposed to DVDs or VHS tapes, and I think he talked about why he hated DVDs. Anyway, I feel like I need to justify why I do, because it's one of the most requested things. Doing cassettes and doing CDs and jewel cases are some of the most requested things from artists, from mostly artists. We get more. There's certainly more submissions, especially for a noise label. Certainly more submissions and more things being released than things that are being bought. It's or either that or they're neck and neck. So it's kind of difficult when the things that we're dealing with, the people that have problems are the people that we're doing a favor for or doing something that they requested. We don't really get that much out of it. It's and it may seem like, which I never liked, that artists don't get paid on these labels. Noise labels, like if you want to submit to Loud Silence, Gates of Hypnos, any of these online labels, they don't pay you. You don't get paid for it. The reason that you put your noise work on a label is to get promotion so that more people will check out your stuff. And the way that it works for us, for Not of the Flesh, we make CDs for you. We send you 5 CDs, and then we sell 10 CDs. But we put 10 CDs up for sale. Maybe one of them, if we're lucky, one of them will get sold, one or two. And like the last thing that I think we had sell more than one copy was Tortured to Grace by Woods Mattress and Sex with Dead Slaves. And we've released a lot of stuff. some stuff hasn't gotten any sales. I don't necessarily think it's fair, but it's also it's not the usually labels are not doing too much for themselves. You know, it's they're trying to keep afloat. I don't know anybody that makes their living running a noise label, or none of my friends, certainly not myself, not Shremo, for Gates of Hypnos, none of us make enough to live off of. So, I would primarily attribute my income from streams on Spotify and stuff like that. And I'm paying through the nose to be able to keep that stuff up too. And you have to work a lot. So anyway, there's no one really to blame. I would encourage you being involved in noise to take it easy. But I can see artists being upset, and I can also understand why labels would have a hard time. This is a good example right here of why I hate jewel cases. I was hoping I had one that was broken. But this is my collection of CDRs, right, as of right now. Right? I have a lot more in the house, but I just grabbed a couple cases to represent. I really love the sleeved CDRs. I had a phase where I was just buying as many as I could find. And I'm going to count how many are in these real quick, and I may cut that out. This is the Woods Mattress OVMN split. My CD player wasn't working when I tried to listen to it, so I don't know what it sounds like, but I know that it's really cool because Woods Mattress did a split with me, and he also did a split with OVMN, and OVMN did a split with the Rita, so it's kind of like I worked with the Rita. I lost count. 116 releases in here. I also did notice that I never showed the source stuff on this channel. So I did a series of harsh noise walls and read through some manga. Bad Police was probably my favorite thing. I also used Gantz for covers, and it was just a good way to have some fun and make some CDs, just some straight up noise CDs, just to give out, to trade, what have you. So 116 are in here, right? Now I'm gonna show, this stuff is a lot of noise, but also a lot of grindcore and just some random stuff. 50 in this giant thing, and 116 in this little thing. That's my number one reason, I think, for preferring sleeved small CDRs as opposed to jewel cases. As far as income goes, Harsh Noise Walls and Noise in General doesn't have lyrics, and even if they did, you could put, even if you had like a bunch of quotes and stuff like that you wanted to put in there, you can put it on the back, you can put it on the inside, you can put a little note in there. There's 100 things. People can go online and read the lyrics, right? They might even be able to hear the lyrics. A number two reason. This is so common. I have it in my collection, and I purposefully, even before I was running a label, had a ton of jewel cases sitting around also getting broken, just so that I could replace it when something came in the mail that was destroyed. It can have bubble wrap, everything. You're gonna get these broken off tops right here like this. So common, and there'll be cracks right on the front and stuff like that. The only reason why we really like this is because you can display it like this and you can show off your collection. But they're so small, and it takes up, you use a wall if you want to display your collection, and then you fill up your wall in no time at all. You fill up the space that you have. with the amount of music, this is the reason for releasing physical media. The reason for it is that online music is so oversaturated, right? That and no one makes physical copies anymore because anybody that's doing something DIY can just put it out physically, or can just put it out, and everybody can put out music online, right? There's no effort, right? So this condenses what you're able to listen to more. But the problem with that is that if you're listening to DIY music in general, it's still significantly more music than what you would be able to put on your wall, or what you would be able to pin up right next to your record player or something like that. And even the biggest artists, Vomir, Merzbow, the Rita, if you collected, let's say you could collect their complete discography, it's pretty much impossible for those artists. You couldn't, that would have to be your whole collection if you were using something like jewel cases, or especially if you're using something like cassettes. It's such a short object, and it fills up your wall. It would fill up your. This is such a short object, and it's a wide label that it takes up a ton of space. So you could hypothetically store cassettes in the same way. And I'm not completely against cassettes. I quite like them as a kid. It's all I listened to. It's just not the side label, the label on the side is the only justification that I can come up with for cassettes. I get wanting to have, just like I have these right here. They look great, right? The same reason you would want to have a bunch of cassettes. But it just takes up so much space as far as physical media goes. It takes up wall space, and you can't put like a handful of different ones. This is, you what I said 160. You could probably go up to 200 in one of these bad boys with CDRs, and it takes up that much wall space. So, and granted, you don't have to put it on the wall. So it just makes a lot more sense to me if you collect a lot, and if you're collecting noise, you're going to be collecting a lot, and like I just said, we don't sell that many. So, and a big reason for not selling that many is money. Another big reason is no one has space. The reason people don't want to do trades is because of space. And by the way, as far as books go, I've moved on to reading on my laptop mostly and on my phone. It just makes more sense to me. I've moved on from listening to music on CDs and cassettes, and even especially vinyl, to listening to it on my phone. If you have a Bandcamp collection, you can download a WAV file, and it's significantly better to listen to a WAV file. But also, the amount of hiss that you get from a cassette in the mid-range would completely demolish a noise wall. It changes, the sound of a cassette is a lot warmer than the sound of vinyl. It's a lot warmer than a lot warmer than the sound of a CD. A CD has a very crisp sound. So, granted, I like cassettes for a lot of punk music, a lot of stuff, let's say indie, shoegaze, maybe if I want to listen to Clash or something, that'd be great on cassette. I used to make mixtapes of that stuff just because I liked it on cassette, and they're awesome. But but if you're looking at noise, it doesn't work the same way as music, where you could play a song on guitar and then play it on piano, and it's the same song. Or two different people could sing it, and it's the same song. The difference in noise between a noise wall and another noise wall is not that much more defined, especially than a symphony, to where you could play it on synthesizers, or you could have an orchestra play it. The tone is the difference in noise music. So to have a clean, if the actual noise is what gives it a warm sound, then that's what gives it a warm sound. But you're giving everything a warm sound with cassettes. So those which I suppose is a reason to put it on cassette as opposed to have it on digital, because that gives you a reason to listen to cassette and digital. So anyway, but that's why I prefer CDs. It's a clean sound, and it's in my opinion that's what noise works on, and it's the cheapest option. Again, you can't expect people, if I have to charge $10, which is what a lot of tapes go for. I mean, if it's back stock, if someone's had them sitting around, they definitely mark them down, or they're not making much of a profit off of it, because it costs around $5 to make a tape. So that's kind of a lot. It costs me, as far as not including labor, because it does. I don't have a duplicator, so it does take me a long time to make them. But as far as what I'm paying to put one of these sleeved CDRs together, this, for instance, this costs about 25 cents to make. Right? I'm also not including printer ink, which is pretty expensive over time, but 25-cent CDRs are a lot more significant for noise labels that aren't paying the artists. Only in other CDRs, when it's just for promotion, that makes sense to me. In the 90s, record labels would do 7 inches, which was really cheap at the time. But now there's so much more music, and it's from individuals. It's not from bands. Yeah. Those are the reasons why I stick with the format that I stick with. I understand, and I want to give respect to artists, but I definitely understand why they would want different. But it's, there's just such a mass of stuff, and you kind of have to go with logic there. Playing the financial game with this stuff. I want it to be the easiest on everybody's pockets, and I want people to be able to collect. I don't want people to not get stuff because they don't have room, and also I don't have room. I just told you I have probably 5 boxes like that filled up, and I couldn't afford to have another even 25 CDs and jewel cases. I don't have that much space. So yeah. As far as these, I've kind of worn out my voice. And there's a lot in here. And there's a handful of things to be able to talk about, but that was something to get out of the way. I usually, if I accidentally talk about something controversial, this is a long episode too, if I talk about something controversial, I'll be like, oh no, let me scrap that episode. and that's usually the reason for me, if I don't have a Noise with Ivan for the week, that's usually the reason. But yeah, as far as collections go, I'll be sifting through everything that I have in my collection, and everything that I have coming out on the label. On Instagram, on the Not of the Flesh label Instagram page. So if you like those videos, I know that's how Noise with Ivan started out. It was just a physical show, and that gave birth to the physical label. That's where all the physical stuff is going. And my reviews will be here on Noise with Ivan, and also talking about why I made albums, which I still haven't gotten back to. They're coming. The whole point is to worry about them. I thought about going through a few different albums and talking about everything that I've done and giving a reason for it, explaining my albums on episodes of Noise with Ivan in between regular reviews. And then when I get to Slavery, that's the end of Noise with Ivan. Ooh, but that would be so sad. I don't know, but I'm definitely going to get to it. It's important to me that I talk about them, and also it's a averaging at 20 views an episode. For the Portraits of Kane one to have gotten to 116 views is pretty significant. But also that's because I said, why make music that no one hears on it? So, I don't know. And but also that's probably the most streamed album, given that it was the earliest one. A couple of those are over 1,000 views. And I think it was Roman Shower that was telling me that was my best project. So, that's a possibility. Anyway, I've gone way over my usual Noise with Ivan limit today. I hope you enjoy the episode. It shouldn't be too much of a pain for me to edit together. But it'll be a long time before this one comes out. I'm sure it'll be winter. Because I've been scheduling releases. I have episodes scheduled for the next 2 weeks. So, happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, all that. Godspeed.